Suicide Squad Issue 4 sees Locke tracking an utter of the phrase Task Force X around the world, a word which was recently said by Digger Harkness in an Australian bar. The drunk villain continues to badmouth the clandestine team as some of Locke's men who are stationed in Victoria mobilise, racing to the bar and confronting Digger, who isn't the least bit surprised that they turned up. Apologising to the bartender Jono for the mess that's about to happen, Digger tries to tell the soldiers he will buy them a beer if they stand down. The soldiers don't listen, telling him to put his hands behind his head, so he does, retrieving the boomerang he had hidden down the back of his coat. Captain Boomerang throws his pint glass at one of the men, attacking the other, and in seconds takes the entire team out. He tells his friend Tim that he needs to borrow his ute, but Tim knows that Digger is well past drunk, but the villain wonders why he's only worrying about obeying the law now, since he just killed a lot of people in the bar. Tim doesn't want him drink driving, but Digger proves that he's just under the limit, taking the car keys and speeding off. Elsewhere, Locke tells the Suicide Squad that while they lost Harkness in South Australia, they have tracked him to the Nullarbor, something Thylacine hopes he can narrow down a bit since it's a road that stretches across 3 time zones and is 1,650 kilometers long. Locke says that he has people covering the exits of the road, and since Thylacine knows the country, she will track him down, with Wink and Jog will deal with Digger once they confront him. Harley and Deadshot will be going along since they can be used to try and bring him in alive, since he knows them. Ozita is told that she will back them up and she's more than happy to, but Deadshot isn't, telling Locke that Digger was their teammate for years and he isn't doing this. Since he doesn't want to, Locke adds 1 more year to his sentence, angering Floyd since this is not the deal, but Locke tells him that it is his, threatening his daughter if he doesn't do what he's told. With no other choice, the team head to South Australia, where they commandeer a van and head for the Nullarbor. As they drive, Harley continues to annoy the team, so Wink teleports her into a place filled with wildlife, teleporting her back, and thanks to the experience with emus, Harley shuts up. Soon Thylacine diverts the team off the road, telling the team that they will stay at the Great Australian Bight for the night. The real reason, however, is revealed to be that there is no phone signal in that area, meaning their internal bombs and communications won't work and Locke can't listen in on them, meaning they can talk freely. Ozita tells Harley and Floyd to set up the tents as the rest of the team head off from them. As they pitch the tents, Harley knows that Floyd is hiding something from her, but he won't say, despite Harley saying that she could subtly extract the information from him thanks to being a trained psychiatrist. Later that night, Ozita and Floyd wake up with sore heads, having been drugged by Harley and tied up, part of her subtle extraction plan. Harley knows that something happened on their last mission and knows Locke hasn't caught on yet since he's an overconfident narcissist who thinks he's always in control of everything, but she knows that the revolutionaries are way too smart to get captured like they did, so she wants Ozita to tell her why they allowed themselves to get caught. Ozita says it's because the squad hurt them as Thylacine arrives, scaring Harley and allowing Ozita to free herself from her bonds, throwing herself on top of Harley and strangling her. Ozita explains that she used to be part of a military operation and was experimented on, which made her stronger and harder, and she was one of 2 people who survived the incident, the other being her wife. One day they were both assigned to a mission in Korat, where the whole squad was killed by Captain Boomerang, who also cut off Ozita's arm when she tried to stop a boomerang from killing her wife, but she was unsuccessful. The top brass called the killing a case of friendly fire, and Ozita wasn't even allowed to take the body of her wife home, since the military claimed it and said they owned her. She says Boomerang killed her wife, and after everything that she had sacrificed, the government just stuck her in a fridge. After the incident, Ozita learned of Task Force X, tracking the team's fights and missions and disasters, and in the aftermath, found others who had been caught in the crossfire of these fights, recruiting them into her team to help people in their own way, knowing one day they will need to deal with Task Force X directly, which is when they learned of the team's plan in Bardizia, putting themselves in the open so they would be captured and recruited into the team, so they can join the mission and go and rescue the heir's mother. Ozita underestimated Locke, which led to one of her own team members being being killed by him, but she knows while they could take him down, they want his boss. Harley wonders what happens now and Thylacine wants to kill her, but Air says that they could kill her, or Harley could join them and stand aside when it comes time to kill Locke and his bosses. Harley talks it over with Floyd as Thylacine tells Ozita that they cannot trust her, knowing they need to kill her. Harley meanwhile asks if Floyd is really going along with this, and Floyd says that he is, since the job is going to kill him, but Harley doesn't think the same way. Floyd tells her that he has been trapped in the team for years, and while he's been lucky so far, that luck will run out eventually, and watching Locke blow up the kid from the Revolutionaries was his wake-up call. He says Waller was a monster, but she was their monster, and Locke is a completely different animal. Harley agrees with him, saying that she's been where Floyd is at the moment, and sometimes it takes a while to wake up from everything. Floyd is sick of being powerless, and if he's going out, it'll be on his terms. Harley agrees to join them, saying that she's always up for a little vengeance, but Ozita knows that's not enough. But Harley says that she's been forced into many bad situations, and if she had $1 for every time it happened, she would still be messed up, but she'd be doing a lot more online shopping. Air tells Ozita that Harley gets to be one of them, and the rest of the team agrees, except for Thylacine, who still thinks that they should kill her, but won't stand in the team's way. The next morning, they hit the Nullarbor again, tracking Digger to a junkyard. Heading inside, they find Boomerang, who isn't surprised the team is there at all, since he was actually waiting for them to show up. Ozita tells Jog to take him out, and Jog heads in to take Digger out, but the villain is ready, activating his bombs and blowing up a stack of junk cars, raining fire down on the speedster and burning him. Suicide Squad issue 4 was another fantastic issue that finally saw Captain Boomerang make a cool return to the book. Not only did I enjoy the book being set in Australia with many Australian locations that I myself have actually been to, but I also like how Digger was depicted as a very real and dangerous threat, not making him kind of a joke that he often is, since, you know, he's a guy who throws boomerangs. The reveal of Ozita and the Revolutionaries' origins and how they tied to Task Force X was very cool and really well tied into the Boomerang arc. Including Harley into the story and taking down the squad from the inside adds a bit of unknown to the plot, since really Harley is very unpredictable, and I'm looking forward to seeing how adding her into it causes drama within the team, since some of them want to kill her, some of them think she should be allowed to do it. Very intrigued to see what will happen now. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.